thank you for reaching out and being willing to share your story, to come out public, because it's a scary thing to do, but it is such an important thing to do. And in a lot of ways. Number one, I feel it's important for the person that shares because you're no longer carrying the weight of your story all by yourself. Other people will help carry that weight for you. And I know that sounds goofy, but it's true. You'll feel it once you start sharing your story. And the second is a lot of what you've been through, and we'll get into the bias in healthcare as well, is something that so many people, so many ladies, oh, check them out. We have a co-star.
Oh, yeah. I'm house sitting, so this is Princess Leia.
Oh,
Sweet.
he's so cute.
Oh
my gosh.
But you survived the bias project. You're surviving the bias in healthcare. So we'll get into that tonight too. And I know people have walked that before. And they've been mistreated by doctors, and they've seen the difference when you take somebody with you to a doctor's appointment and how their attitudes change, like dramatically, right?
The power
And
dynamic.
yeah, and how suddenly everything you said before was believable, right? And they take that as truth now for some reason. So I'm guessing your journey with chronic pain and a lot of other stuff started around, when we were talking, you said around 2008 when you were pregnant. Is that correct?
So everything started within my pregnancy. I started having back pain. I was falling to the ground with my back, the joints were pinching within my back in the discs, and I'd fall to the ground. I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. I'd have to crawl. And as my pregnancy progressed, I was going to the doctor, and they're like, okay, well, you need physical therapy to be able to address this. So I started going to physical therapy, and they would adjust me and get the pain to stop. But then the minute I would walk out of the physical therapy, it would go right back. So they had me wearing braces, and that's essentially where my pain started. I think I had like either a cracked or dislocated rib the last 2 months of my pregnancy. Pregnancy was really hard. So that's where the major pain started. And then I thought after the pregnancy, everything would just go back to normal. Oh, no. Boy, was I wrong. So I was still going to physical therapy and saying, well, when will this go away? And they're like, oh no, this is it. Like, you're going to have this forever. And I'm like, okay, what do I do about this? And, so they sent me to pain management. There's where the real pain began, because, I didn't know anything about pain management. I want
to point out real quick, and I'm sorry to interrupt you because you're on a great roll and your timing is great, and I'm going to screw it up, but briefly. I want to point out that it was your OBGYN that sent you to pain management, not your PCP.
Yes, it was my OBGYN. He's the one who was, so he prescribed me a month of pain pills after my son because I was bleeding. He went back in the NICU unit, all that stuff. It was a really rough month, but I was still bleeding. And apparently they had left some stuff inside from the C-section.
No.
And so they had to go back and all that out. And apparently I'm told that epidurals are not supposed to hurt when you're getting a C-section. I don't know. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, telling them to stop as they're putting in the epidural. But it worked. But afterwards, I started having more pain and more pain and more pain. So going into pain management, they did all the scans, they did all the tests, and they said, oh, you have degenerative disc disease. And so they said, okay, we're going to start treating for that. Well,
hang on. Yeah. How old were you when they diagnosed you with degenerative disc disease?
I was 31.
That is so young to be diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. Typically, a lot of patients, whether it's chronic pain or chronic illness, we don't get told that we're dealing with that until we're in our mid to late 40s, early 50s. And then the mantra from pain doctors is, oh, everyone on the planet has disc degenerative, blah, 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 blah. You just have to learn how to Get out of bed where it doesn't hurt as bad and stuff like that, and leave me alone, right?
Yeah, everyone has it.
Yeah.
But
That's the frustrating thing that they say. Well, everybody has it. It's like, no,
yeah,
actually,
not everybody has it to the
no.
degree that you had it, right? And but I just want to point that out because it's a little rare. It's common in our community,
I was
but
gonna say,
in
look
the
at all the comments. Everybody's 31, 31,
yeah,
39.
Yeah.
it's common in our community
Five.
because we have it worse, right? But in the general life, normal people, it doesn't really they don't really start throwing that as a blanket excuse out till later.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keep
No
going.
worries. So degenerative disc disease was the diagnosis that they gave me. I also had, so they start treating for that, and they do the steroid epidural injections. And they gave me steroids to lower the inflammation. They do seven in 1 year. This was 2008, 2009, so this was before the 3 max. Well, none of that was helping, and I kept saying, hey, this isn't helping. It's always puts me down for a week at a time. Flare, I had a new baby. I could only sleep in a recliner. I couldn't sleep in the bed anymore. Just could barely walk around the block. Had to have a SI joint belt just to stand up straight. Everything was just out of whack from the pregnancy and the stretching and everything like that. So
Right.
they said, okay, well, let's do some more tests. Oh, now you have facet joint syndrome. So then they go into doing the RFA, the ablations, and, so then they start doing those things in the nerve blocks. Well, after about a year in pain management, I ended up more weight than I gained when I was pregnant. I only gained 40 pounds when I was pregnant. After this, I was 250 pounds and I was bedridden. Like for the next for those 2 years, I was up to 250 pounds at my max, and I couldn't go around the block without holding on to something. So I'd have to hold on to my son's stroller, put on my belt, put on all of my stuff, just to stabilize me and be able to walk around the block.
Wow. And Jayme, where was this degenerative disc? Was it in your mid back or your low back, or where was it
So I
specifically?
had L5S1 and C3 in my.
So you had the whole thing pretty much.
I
Yeah.
had one doctor say, well, why do you have, this and this? I'm like, well, isn't it all connected? He said, why do you have pain here and here? And I'm like, well, isn't it all connected? Like, doesn't that make sense to you? Yeah. So I was in pain. And so at this point, they started to put me on a long acting, because I was on the short acting, the 4 typical, starting off. And then they put it on a long acting that's not even on the market anymore. They took this off. It starts with an O, Opana. So they took this off the market, but it was never working for me. And I kept telling the doctor, hey, I always feel like I can't get ahead of the pain. And so I was doing the chasing the pain all the time. And that's when my primary was like, you know what? I know of this new great thing. It's a patch. You won't have to worry about it. It's 3 days. Let me take over your pain management. Because I asked pain management if they said no. They wouldn't do it.
Right.
So my primary is like, I will take over everything. I see what's happening to you. You're not getting better. You're getting worse. Like, everything was snowballing into going nowhere fast. So he took over my pain management and he put me on that. And it was like, oh my gosh, my pain is actually under control. It was like, you saved my life. You saved my quality of life. You saved me. So I could function enough to take care of my son, function enough to be able to, go to physical therapy and start doing the things that I really needed to get done that I couldn't do when I was in unbearable pain, which,
the pain management, like they weren't the ones helping your PCP. Like what a blessing that they took over and actually did their job.
Yeah, he sent me to a rheumatologist. The rheumatologist right away said, you have fibromyalgia, you have Raynaud's, you have, the markers of some other stuff with the 13 tests he took, like autoimmune issues. So like everything in pain management, now I have fibromyalgia, which I didn't have going in,
Right.
which
A
was
little parting gift we all get.
It's
super
a part,
frustrating.
a parting gift. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great way to
Yeah.
put it. You
And
know.
I'm like, and so I was deathly afraid of pain management after that experience, because they told me, hey, we have to do these things in order for you to get your meds. Straight up. Like, that was the expectation. I couldn't just get my meds. I had to have these procedures done. So that's when my doctor was like, no, come, I will take care of you. You're not going to have to do that. You're not going to have to go in a cup. You're not going to have to be monitored. I mean, my doctor was so great. He, we had a relationship. We trusted each other. He could write me out all the stuff and, be like, okay, come back and see me, whenever you need, 3 months more. Like, he would just give it to me. This is way back in the day. And so
Yeah.
I was on the same regimen, and I was able to start losing weight. I got down to 175. The rheumatologist did put me on Cymbalta and Lyrica. And then at the same time, I'm going through my OB still, and I'm being diagnosed with endometriosis. So, of course, you have to go through a surgery to be diagnosed. So that was more trauma on the body. And then he starts putting me on all the things for endometriosis, which you're only supposed to be on for a short time, but I was on for like 6 years, so that destroyed my bone health.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which, thanks for telling me, guys.
Yeah, right.
They never tell you, hey, when you're put on this stuff, here's the side effects, here's how it's going to be when you come off, here's the risk. They never go over the risk versus reward.
Yeah, it's like when we have surgery, or when people have surgery, the surgeons are really detailed on the positive outcome of a surgery, but they're extremely light on what could go wrong with the surgery, right? Heaven forbid, including like metal pieces inside of you that they miscounted, right, when they were done. Um, but and it's a double-edged sword for a lot of us in the community, whether it's, I don't care what your diagnosis is when we push back. I was on the phone this morning with a lady who's just going through some atrocious times finding care, and she's like, well, my doctor wants me on Lyrica. And I told him absolutely not. And I'm like, okay, we have to play the game. Instead of saying absolutely not, say, well, Lyrica works really great for this. That's not my diagnosis. Why are you wanting me on Lyrica when that's not my diagnosis? And even if they're a buzzsaw, make them explain. And don't accept, well, it still works occasionally. Well, and then do you know that Lyrica does work great for a lot of people? Tacoma's one person on this app that it works great for. But for a lot of us, that's a 50-pound weight gain when we start taking it. Easy. And they don't mention that stuff, right?
And that was the whole thing, was they're telling me, hey, you just need to lose weight. Being told, oh, you just need to lose weight, and then your degenerative is going to go away. You're going to be great. But they put me on Lyrica. So I got down to the plateau of 175. I could starve myself. I could work out every single day. I was not losing that weight, and I didn't know why. For 10 years, I had no idea why. And it was so frustrating, and it was so depressing that I couldn't lose this weight. And then when I finally made the discovery of this flower, I saw a documentary, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if it's used for this, why can't it be used for this? I'm going to try to do this flower. Once I got down off the Lyrica, I dropped 40 pounds like that. And that's the thing, risk versus reward. I didn't have neuropathy. So why be on it if it's an anti-seizure? This flower is an anti-seizure. Like, it just made sense to me that I was going to substitute one for the other. Well, it worked so well for me. I was like, oh, okay, well, what else can I get off of? So I started to...
And that's what I've been teasing everybody. At one time, between numerous doctors, they had you on 27 different prescriptions, which blows me away that your pharmacist, and we'll get into the pharmacist issues you had too, Um, but we'll get into how a pharmacist didn't say, look at that list and go, out of 27 prescription drugs, some of them being scheduled drugs,
Yep.
there is no counter indications in here anywhere.
Right.
And that just blows my mind. And, you
every
know,
different doctor has a different diagnosis and then a different medicine. So my psychiatrist, my OB, like for the different diseases, I have different medications, and it's just like I really need to be on all of this stuff. And I just listened to them. I didn't question them, and that was. What I'm learning now is I question everything.
Yeah.
Well, and it's hard because a lot of us are in, due to things in our life, we become a people pleaser, and we don't want to push back. And this is somebody who we are told to keep up here.
Yeah.
And when we see them, they make a point of letting us know, a lot of them do, that they're here, and they talk down to us because they're educated, right? And so we're trained as, even for those of us that aren't a typical people pleaser, we're taught as kids, you respect your doctor, and if your doctor tells you to do something, you do it, right? But then you add into it those of us that have had crappy childhoods, and later in life as adults, me at 57 years old, I have to fight being a people pleaser every day. It just feeds into who we are, based on different things in our lives. Thank you for that. That is so awesome. But yeah, I could see it, and I could see myself falling in that trap, and I can see so many people. What's crazy to me, not crazy because if people need it, I want them to take whatever number of meds that they need, right? We talked about your 27 on Tuesday, on the live on Tuesday, and some people that were at the live mentioned they were currently on 46 different medications, but they count on those 46 to survive, to have quality of life. So I don't want people to say, oh my gosh, if you're on 27 scripts, you need to immediately stop. No, don't immediately stop anything, please.
Works.
No.
Yeah, I want.
Also, I think it matters when, you have, like you said, you had different doctors for different diagnoses, and they were prescribing certain things. And it's like, a lot of us have several different specialists, and it's like they're not all communicating, and they don't know what this guy's prescribing over here, and he doesn't know what you're prescribing. And so if your pharmacist isn't on top of it and really looking, or if you're not really paying attention, you don't know, because you're taking something because you need it for that diagnosis. But it's like you can get caught up in oh my gosh, now I have 27 medications. How did we get here? Type of thing.
It's very easy to do, you know. And now I'm going through the whole perimenopause thing, and I'm like, oh God, now I got to figure this out. Oh no.
A new fun challenge.
Oh boy.
And some of the things that you were on, I consider heavy hitters, but they're common in the invisible community, regardless of a diagnosis. Things like Lyrica, Cymbalta, Wellbutrin, right? And a lot of doctors will, a lot of bad doctors will throw those out at your first appointment because it works for some, and it's an easy thing to do, right? And a lot of us are in a position where, like myself, where I am willing to try whatever works. I am a big proponent in my healthcare of the Velcro system. I've told my doctor, my unicorn, let's throw this shit against the wall, and whatever sticks, great. And if it doesn't stick, let's forget about it and move on, But a lot of doctors will automatically just write those scripts because it's common for them, and they get you in, they get you out. And then they're like, I'll worry about it next month when they come back, and we'll see if it's making an impact. Right. So, but I can't be a fan of that. I really can't. And it's like you were talking earlier, your doctors were telling you had to get XYZ shot or and done, or you couldn't get your stuff. I'm a fan of those when they work and when they're called for, because they do help people. Some people they do help, but I am not a fan of a patient being held hostage in order to get the meds they do need. my doctor and I have had the discussion about jumping through hoops, and I'll jump through certain hoops, but don't hold that as the carrot, the carrot and the stick,
Or dangling it up
don't
here.
dangle it
You
at
can
me,
have
right?
this if you do X, Y, and Z. If you're a good patient, you can get this.
Because
Yeah,
that's what happened to me again. So now I'm back in pain management. In 2023, the pharmacy I've been at for 13 years says, hey, due to DEA policies, now we can only fill your scripts if it's coming from a pain management doctor. So, oh boy, did the anxiety shoot up, and I just was sick to my stomach. Thank God for you guys, because this is about the same time I started watching TikTok, and then I found, Dr. Mike's book, and that really helped me learn, okay, what are they going to quiz me on? Pretty much. So I had everything written out, and I went in and I brought my caregiver, my boyfriend, with me to the appointment, and I said, look, this is my history. This is what happened to me the last time I was in pain management. I had so much anxiety just being here in your office. And he was really cool. He was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. We'll just do the meds and we won't do any of the other. That goes great for about a year. And then the scheduling nurse says, well, the DEA's come up with new protocols, so you have to either get injected or force taper down. And I had already tapered myself down using the oil down to the 90 mmes, because I had seen the writing on the wall and I knew that this was coming. And I'm like, I don't want to be up at 240 and, all of a sudden get cut off. So, and I don't want to be diagnosed with OUD. So if I can taper myself down, then I can prove to them I don't have this. I don't, I'm in compliance. I'm trying to do all the things that I'm doing. I was trying to be proactive and get ahead of it. But I got to a point now where, I was fine where I'm at, but going any lower, I knew it would harm me. And I knew I would have more pain and I wouldn't have the function that I have now. And I told them that. And I even wrote a whole letter, and I put in the California Bill of Rights where you're not supposed to be given that ultimatum. Like, you're not supposed to have to do injections to get your medication. So it's against the law what they told me. But they told me, hey, this isn't to help you. This isn't to help us. It's not for financial gain. It's to get the DEA off our backs. And I have my caregiver was standing right there when the lady said it. And I'm just like, see, like, this is what I'm talking about. It's not about the patient. It's about them having their hands tied and having to do what the government is telling them they have to do. Yeah. So I did let them inject my fingers because my hands do hurt. And I'm like, well, if you guys can just do lidocaine, I have my fingers have the osteoarthritis, and so I let them do that. I ended up in a big pain flare, shot up with a migraine that day, and then wrote down from now on bad allergic reaction to injections. So every month that I go in, I have to fill out one of those opioid risk tools, and then I have to put on the other thing, bad reaction to injections. So that way they're not pushing it on me every month. Hey, let's do this. So I just document, hey, this didn't work for me. I had, So now they said, okay, well, you can go to physical therapy and that'll be your adjunct instead of injections. And that'll be sufficient for the DEA. Yeah. So months go by, yada, yada, yada. I lose one pharmacy. They couldn't get it because of national shortage. I go to a pharmacy that my doctor told me to. My short acting, I went 30 days without it because nobody had it. This was 2023 in September. I went 30 days without it. And my pain shot up, and even with the flower oil still helping me as an adjunct helps, with the inflammation and anxiety, but for the pain, I still need the opioid. Like, I just need to function. Like, I tried to get off everything. No, I need it.
What size patch do they have you on, if you don't mind me asking?
The lowest.
The lowest?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
And I think that's something that to a lot of people, even that, especially that are new to the pain community, that people with patches, it's not a one size. There's still breakthrough that happens, and it needs to be addressed. And a lot of pharmacies, like unfortunately what you run into, will do one or the other,
Yeah.
and they won't do both. And you can't go to another pharmacy to get the other because you'll be flagged as med shopping. And even if it's from the same doctor, and it really puts patients in the bind because the doctor agrees that you need it and that it's important for your care, for your quality of life, but yet we're getting flagged by pharmacists that have their own set of rules.
Yeah.
And
Happened to me.
that's why a lot of, like, my favorite pharmacist in the world, she's on this app, Snarky Pharmacist, right? And admittedly, her and I politically, we're not always 100%, okay? But I love her to death and I respect the crap out of her. But she says she won't work retail pharmacy because of the rules and the hoops they have to go through to keep the DEA happy. That's why she's a clinical pharmacist and works with doctors to try to say, hey, they need this patch and they need this. This would be their best quality of life, right? Because whether it's a shortage or not, a lot of pharmacists actually want to play God, and they're upset that their doctorate isn't in medical, that it's in pharmacy, and they like to prove that they can like control a lot of our lives. Um,
So
I
I
wanted to,
actually went through that.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
you told me that 3 pharmacies now, including a
Yeah.
mail order, has
Yeah.
refused to serve you.
So Express Scripts, they had my prescription. They were okay with it for a year. No problem. And then a year goes by and they say they have a controlled substance team review whatever, I guess my file, and they said for safety reasons they were no longer comfortable with filling it. And I called the pharmacy. I'm like, what did I do? Like, what did I do wrong? And she's like, you didn't do anything wrong. She's like, I said, I'm within the 90 MME. She's like, that has nothing to do with it. She's like, it's just for safety reasons. And I'm like, the only thing I can think of is I see a new PA like every other month. So maybe that had flagged it. But yeah, she said, you have to taper. And my doctor told me he was treated like a drug dealer
When you called.
when he
Yeah.
called. When he called, and then when I called, I was treated poorly too. And my boyfriend was listening at the time, and he's like, "I can't believe she's talking to you that way." And I'm like, "I'm just trying to understand like what I did wrong, you know." And she's like, "No, you would have to taper for us to fill this again. We're not going to do it." Or she's like, "You need to get off one or the other." And I'm like, but that's not my plan. That's not, what works for me. Like, this is medically necessary. Like, I'm on SSDI. The government recognizes my disability. Why don't you guys?
Right.
And that's what I don't understand. It's like,
And that's the killer. They won't tell you. They won't
no.
say, well, the government's hounding us. They won't say that Billy Bob with a degree in creative writing, who's our office manager, decided that it's not necessary. They won't tell you. Or that AI decided that it's wrong and they shouldn't do it, right? I just, I think as a patient, if Congress would write a national law and pass it that required an explanation, besides it's better for your health, we're concerned, an actual explanation, and put the name of the person that made the decision,
Yeah.
I would feel better. Because when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I need to yell and scream, at least I have that mofo's name I can yell out and say, when I'm burning effigies in the backyard in the bonfire, I'm putting one together of that dude and I'm tossing him right into the flame, the burning pit of hell,
I'm
right?
throwing my voodoo magic out at him.
Yeah, exactly. Or
It's like
now,
it's so frustrating because like these medications are life saving to us. They are what give us a quality of life. That is the reason I can get out of bed and be kind of a human being or a productive member of society. But it's like they wouldn't do this to somebody with diabetic medication or a heart medication. It's just as important for them continuing on life. Like this is life saving for us, and the hoops and the games and the things we have to go through
And the
is just like
stigma
we
and
are
the
the only
bias.
people that deal with this.
Yeah.
Like
yep,
they don't do this to anybody else, and
no,
it's so unbelievably frustrating.
no, they don't. And
I hate that you've been through all of that, like with your pharmacies. Like it's not okay at
And I even
all.
have a therapist that is like not about the, she's an addiction specialist, so she doesn't understand the flower. And so she's like made some comments where I'm like, oh my God, you're so biased. Like, she just doesn't get it. And I'm
Doesn't get
like,
it.
but this is my medicine. Like, I'm not using it to, you know, just sit on the couch and eat Cheetos. Like, I'm using it to exercise. Like, I'm using it to do the things that facilitate less pain. And like, the things that have come out of doctors' mouths just because they don't understand.
Yeah, and with my doctor, that's why as much as I love my doctor, and I've got an announcement coming up about him, that a sacrifice he's making for the pain community, which is going to just, I'm still blown away about it. I tell him to his face, and I'm like, dude, as much as I love you and how appreciative I am of you and how you're helping me, you're not my unicorn. And then he's like, every time he's like, well, why not now? I'm like, it's the same reason. You won't let me smoke weed. And he's like, well, I go, and you know what? I may not even use it. Oops, I said the word I'm not supposed to use. Crap.
Don't get us in trouble.
I know it'll be me. Everybody else will be behaved, and it's not me, and I'll be the one that gets us in trouble. I go, but it's not necessarily me that I want it for. I want it for the rest of your patients because I want them to use whatever makes them better.
Well, and
But
it
I want
lowers
to,
my blood pressure. Like,
yeah,
the C and the B and the E, it lowers my blood pressure so much that I have to be careful at how many milligrams that I'm taking because it lowers my blood pressure so much. And
yeah.
it's just like,
It has so many other benefits. I want to, before we get into the flower aspect of it, I want to go back and touch on something that I touched on at the very beginning, and I think played a role in you bringing people to your appointments with you. And it's 100% an attaboy for Invisible No More.
yes,
And it really is.
yeah.
You guys, we used to do a lot of projects like the Grief Project, and they really worked well. And we're doing our best to get back to that type of stuff. And one of the things we did was the Bias Project, where we talked about the horrendous bias in healthcare where ladies are treated worse than men. And we had a lot of ladies voluntarily share their story, just not to, we can't fix it, but to shine light on it and to let others know that it was happening. And you told me something, and I almost started crying on our phone call because it just hit home so far. It actually, that's one of the reasons one of the things that how you found us and actually started realizing that we weren't in this to make a buck. We were really trying to help people. You know,
100%.
that it,
And what I learned and the connection that I got from the Bias Project was like, light bulb, okay, I'm not alone, you know.
That's
oh
it.
my gosh, it does make sense, you know. And like after that I started bringing Andrew with me, and like it made the power dynamic, just having a man there with a man doctor, it was like the power dynamic was now level because they weren't saying things to me now like they were, and I wasn't
right.
being treated, just the vibes, you can feel the energy is just different. Yeah, I had my doctor this week, and he was saying that my patch, that he doesn't know, you know, how long it's going to be around because, you know, he's really fearful about the propaganda and the stigma that, you know, the media is using about it.
Yeah. And so it makes a big difference, I think, to have those experiences validated. And I think the ladies that took part in that opened themselves up and shared their stories, it worked. That project worked, and you're a living, breathing example of.
It took me a year to get the, you know, put my big girl panties on and be able to share my story, but I'm here because I really wanted to share it back then, but I just wasn't ready. Like I just wasn't there.
Everybody has a timeline. Everybody has a
everything
timeline.
happens for a reason, and you're sharing it now for a reason, and I think it's great. And I'm so glad that you feel safe enough here to share it, and I'm just so excited.
This safe space. So thank you, because you know, like I feel like I connected with you guys, even though we've never met before. Like you just feel it, you know. And it's just like my girls that are in the comments, you know, like we've never met before, but we just feel each other because that's that unspoken thing between chronic pain patients. It's just like, you know what we're going through, and nobody else really gets it. You know, like the mask that you have to put on every single day that you
Yeah.
can only wear it for so many hours, and then you're just like, all right, I got my heating pads on,
Yeah.
I got
Exactly.
my pajamas on, and that's it. I'm done.
Yep.
You know,
Um,
Yeah.
Somebody just asked, and I want to catch this before I forget about it. Has SSA giving you problems for using flour?
no, I live in California, so that's actually my doctor. My unicorn primary was actually on board with it. So he was like, "Hey, I'm all about it. Whatever you want to use." He signs the thing, and I get the lower taxes and everything. So I actually have the documentation and my doctor prescribing it, because my therapist actually said something to me, and I'm like, "Oh no, I have the paper. Like, my doctor's fully on board with it, so you can just take your bias and walk it out the door."
Yeah.
This doctor says I'm a rock star for all the work that I've done. And it's not just the flour that I use as my medicine. Like I started with diet. I started with the autoimmune protocol. I started with exercise. I was doing all the things. I use music. I use nature. I use animal therapy. I use art therapy. I mean, anything that works, I will use it. Heat works for me because of the Raynards. I use a sauna. I use a vibration plate. There's just so many things, different things. And it's like when you're using all these things together, that's when you get the entourage effect. And it's just like the flower. It's like when you're using the whole plant, you get the entourage effect, and then you get more health benefits. And it's like a pill is not a plan. That's absolutely correct, because I still feel pain with the pill, so I have to
Yeah.
find other things to lower the inflammation, to lower the anxiety, to counteract. And there's all these different parts to this flower. The terpenes, they attack cytokines. Cytokines are inflammation. So like I went down that whole rabbit hole, and I just taught myself, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. But I actually have a few books that I use that are written by doctors. So
Right.
it's not just me making this up in my head. I'm
Right.
actually following the science, and a lot of it's from other countries, because they can do the research and we can't.
Yeah.
But it's still through a doctor. So I can go to my doctor and be like, here you go.
And show them.
Yeah.
It's not a double blind,
Yeah.
study,
Test
but
here.
here's how the science works, because there is a science to it.
Mustang Kelly asked, flour question mark. The devil's lettuce. Does that make it better for you to understand what we're talking about? The thing that should not be named publicly on TikTok before. I mean, we can all get up and twerk, but nobody wants to see me twerk. But that's fine. Trust me,
Not that
nobody
kind of
wants
live,
that.
Keith. It's not that kind of live. Whoa,
Not
whoa,
that.
whoa.
No, I don't. I don't do that. I'll do anything for views, but except twerking, right? So over a few years, you were able to, with your doctors, I'm hoping knowledge, let them know that you were coming off of one,
Yeah.
but replacing that with this I'm going to say herb, this flower, and they've the doctors that have stuck with you, that if you've come off of stuff one at a time safely, right? Not just cold. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
um,
No.
that
Definitely titration down, titration up.
and they've seen the positive impact that as you're coming off of one, you're not getting worse, right? And they're saying, okay, well, maybe that wasn't doing something, or maybe this is having a positive impact. And as you come off of another one, they're seeing that if anything, you're starting to flourish instead of getting worse, right? And so hopefully more doctors will start to see that, and more states will allow the medical use of it. I'm for recreational use as well, but I mean, I'd be okay for a night sitting on the recliner eating nothing but like spicy cheese balls for an hour. I'd be okay with that. As a chronic pain patient, I can't drink because it'll amplify what's wrong. It'll makes my nerves even worse, right? It makes them burn even worse because alcohol is a poison, right? And it amplifies the pain. So why not give somebody Anyway, that's a whole other life. That's something we can discuss on the podcast when we get it going,
I
right?
haven't had a drink not that I ever had a problem with it, but I just stopped drinking, I think about 2016. I just said, you know what, this doesn't serve me. And when something doesn't serve me, I put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
never picked it up again.
And so you've been able to develop ways to work the flower in different ways, right?
Yeah.
And I want to get into it, but we have to be really gentle with that. If somebody would like to talk to you about different things, can they reach out to you and say,
100%. Yeah.
you know,
I would love to share what I know because I make it into an oil, and the oil is what, you know, like I rarely even smoke anymore because that can cause inflammation. So, like, I started doing the ingesting of it, and then ingesting it helps me sleep, it lowers my blood pressure. It reduces my anxiety, and then the different parts of it, depending on what you use, have different effects. Some people, you know, it wakes them up. Some people it wakes them down, but that's dependent on the terpenes that go along with it. And then the bioavailability, it has to be taken with a fat, because if it's not taken with a fat, probably not going to do as much as with a fat. And then there's always, you know, your liver enzymes can affect it. So that's why it doesn't affect some people. Some people it greatly affects, you know, and some people are allergic to it. And it's just, it's not for everyone. It's just for me. I like.
yeah. And that's what, I mean, like, Amy's a perfect example of it affects some people or not. There's a great story of Amy and her husband going out to a comedy show and Amy eating all the brownies in the house and not really thinking it was doing anything until they got to the comedy show. And I wish, you know, Zach would have videoed it. I'd have paid good money to see it because evidently
Yeah.
it hit
I
all
need
at
Jamie's
once.
advice next time I try this. I'm going to need her guidance and her advice next time I try it because I did it the wrong way. I did it the way you're not supposed to do. Do not recommend.
No,
But I'm going to need
no,
your advice next.
Yeah,
but
and then there's things that you can do and take if you do too much.
yeah.
Things that
So,
counteract that. It's just a matter of what they are.
and I wanted to have you on to talk about it because you're thriving with it. You're doing so much better because of it.
Oh,
And I know that there's people that are here in the audience and people I've talked to that are concerned about stigmas or concerned about addiction issues with it, concerned about, and these are all valid concerns. I'm not trying to make somebody feel bad about a concern they have about something. It's valid. It's a true feeling. But rarely does besides Tacoma does anybody come on this app and talk about the true benefits and how it's impacted them. And for people that are on the fence or have questions, for them to be able to reach out to you and say, hey, you know, can you explain to me, you know, why aren't you sitting on the couch all day long eating cheese balls and, you know, and watching Tom and Jerry cartoons all day long? That's what I'd be doing, you know, because I think you,
sharing about it. So
pardon me?
I love sharing about it. So anyone have any questions? Don't feel like you're bothering me. I love to share about it. Like I love teaching about it. So hit me up. I'm here for you.
I love that. Well, besides flour, can you tell me what the hell a vibration plate is? Because Amy has tried to tell me what it is, and I don't have a clue of what a vibration plate. But she's a massive fan. I think you're a massive fan of it. And I mean, is this something I can like get off of Amazon or the TikTok shop and say, hey, this might help me?
So let me explain. 2 years ago, I got hit with mold in the apartment, and that's a whole nother situation. So lymphatic drainage is huge for detoxing mold because the U.S. healthcare system doesn't treat mold illness. So I've had to learn how to detox on my own, and the vibration plate has been a vital part of that. Like it helps your body detox the toxins that it needs to by shaking everything up. If you can ride a skateboard, that would be even better. But for people who can't, you know, vibration plate works awesome. And then it also helps with bone health.
Really? So it's like a foot long thing that's about as wide as a body, and you like lay on it in certain parts, and you turn it on, and then you just watch TV for an hour. And
yeah, or you can do like exercises, you can stretch, you can just sit on it, and you only do it 10 to 15, 20 minutes. You don't do it for a whole hour. Sometimes I have a hard time with my head. It's like juggling my head, so I'll have to rearrange my, positions. But you can do plies or squats or whatever you want, and yeah, it gets the muscles going that normally you can't target anyway else.
Okay, so kind of
Yeah.
let's break it down to a lazy 57-year-old man. Okay, do I have to exercise on it, or can I lay there and watch Tom and Jerry
I
movies and
yeah.
100%.
and just see if it?
No, I
That's me
either
right
I
there.
stand on it. Yeah, I was like, I stand on it and I sit on it. I try and stand because with my pots, I have a hard time standing still in one place because of my pots. So I try and stand for like 5 minutes and then I sit down on it. I just sit on the floor and sit my bottom on it and do that for 10, 15 minutes. So, I mean, I'm not even to the point because I've only been doing this for like a week and I have seen such huge improvements just in a week. Like it's so cool. But it's like I'm still just working my way up and just sitting on it once or twice a day. So you don't have to do crazy things. I mean, the packet I got, people were exercising and standing on it and doing all these things, but
But
I
you
haven't
get
made it there yet.
and it
That's a
helps your nervous system
No.
like get back to where it needs to go.
Hmm.
so. See, if I was smart, I would have like put a link to the TikTok shop. I would have put one on my TikTok shop and put a link to it, and I could be rolling in the dough tonight. But I'm not here for the money. I'm here to let people share their stories, and so we can all learn about these different things, like plates, like vibrating plates, and flour, and conversations with doctors, and how you were able to overcome some of the bias in the healthcare, and how you you really do what I beg people to do, and I'm trying to, I don't say advocate because I'm not an advocate. When I talk with them, we have to show doctors we're taking an active role in trying to be better.
Yeah.
We have to show that. And sometimes that's doing things we don't necessarily want to do, but like PT, nobody enjoys PT. I don't know of anybody that's really enjoys a lot of. You might.
I,
You may
I
be the first
actually
person.
I actually like it, but he just does like a lot of manipulation. He does the tens unit and then does the heat. So like for me,
Yeah,
PT is
that's easy
perfect.
PT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy.
For me, it's like take this 120-pound weight and lift it 72 times and come find me. And then when I'm done, he's out back smoking a cigarette. Oh, you're
Yeah.
done already? And it's like,
Where are you going? The back of a Walmart? Like what?
um, well, Stephenville is the closest place to get PT for me. And Stephenville, Tarleton College is like the cowboy capital of the United States of America. Like the guy who won the most bull riding championships has a bull riding school in Tarleton, in Stephenville, and it's like waiting list miles long to get into it because he's that good. So that's the people that they are. I got the hat and the ghost. Check it out. Thank you. Um, so they're used to like cowboys coming in that have been stomped in the head by a bull, and so they need to get the muscle coordination back. So it's here's 120 pounds. Pick this up a dozen or two times and come find me. And they do. They light a Marlboro and they and they strap it to their boot and they're lifting it 120 times, right? But that's just because it's welcome to Texas. Welcome to Cowboy Central out there. But anyway, that's a whole other tangent we can get onto one night. I don't want to get there tonight. So you're using vibration plates. You agree that a single pill is not a plan. You're a big fan of exercise, therapy, flour, and other things alongside opioids, right?
Sunshine, getting out into
Yeah.
nature, music. Music is like I can't explain how much I love music. And if you put on music like I love punk rock. I'll always be a punk rock girl because
Love it.
but reggae music with the positive affirmations. So you're getting. I'm a big proponent of two birds, one stone. So if I'm getting multiple benefits out of something, like give me positive affirmations and good music to help me exercise, because what it does is it turns down the volume of my brain overthinking and my body overfeeling. So yeah, music is huge. Sunshine, getting out and getting the vitamin D for the fibromyalgia, and huge. So even if I just go outside and lay down when I'm feeling like crap one day, I'll just take a blanket and go outside and lay down and I'm out in nature, I'm making an effort. So it's always just my choices that I have to make, but I have my huge toolbox that I bring along.
Yeah.
Um,
Because it's more than just the flower. It's more than just a patch. It's more than just a pill. These are just things that work together, combined them to make you better. And everybody's plan's different. Everybody's combination of tools that work for them is different. For me, it's currently an opioid, it's ketamine, and it's gabapentin, and that to me is what's kind of working. It's making me better, right? And as Invisible No More, one of the things we stress so much is find ways to get better. And while physically better is good, and so is mentally, we just have to. It doesn't mean we're going to be cured. It just means that tomorrow is better. Does
and the
that make
stories
sense?
we tell ourselves.
Yeah,
The stories
yeah,
that we tell ourselves are like so much a part of the plan, because if you're telling yourself, hey, this isn't going to work, it's not going to work. If you tell yourself, hey, this is going to work, even if it doesn't work, like you're thinking it's going to work. So like you're halfway there. So like today I'm going to manifest a low pain day. So all week long, I'm like, I'm going to do the things in my toolbox that I know lower my pain. And I manifested a low pain day. By the end of the day, I'm sitting here with my heating pad on both sides. And, I took my meds and I'm okay with it. But like the stories that we tell ourselves are half the battle.
or half the battle. I agree. I agree. Does anybody have any questions that I may have missed, because there's been a good number of comments that have been going by, and if I've missed a question, please, now's a really good opportunity to start flooding with it. Because Jayme's a great source, and Jayme has admitted several times, we have it on video, that you're more than welcome to message Jayme about her plan and what's working for her on the things that cannot be mentioned here, and the different ways that Jayme's able to use it to get benefits, right?
Not all the ones are the same. Like you can use a gummy here and it's not like the oil here. Two different things. So you got to know what kind to use.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, was like whenever you started getting into the flower, I know you said that you have some books from doctors, but how did you start figuring out what to take or the difference between all of them? Because I mean, here in Tennessee, it's not legal anyway. So it's like I haven't been able to go and like look and see what options are. But I know friends that do, they explain going into these shops and there's like thousands of products. And I'm like, how did you start that process and how did you figure out what to do?
So I saw a documentary called I'm just going to say We the People, but it's,
Gotcha.
word We the People. It's on Netflix. And they were talking about the oil, and they were using this oil for children who had cancer. And these children who had cancer started using this oil, they started getting better. And then they started to get off the medications and use this as a substitute. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like that is amazing. And one of the little girls is actually my neighbor. So it was like one of the kids went to my son's school like 2 years before he did. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this can't be a coincidence. Like there's something here from it. So once I started learning about that and I saw that documentary, I was like, oh my gosh, the doctor in the documentary wrote a book. So then I got her book. And then learning about the endocannabinoid system. Yeah. Blew my mind, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this affects everything. Like there's even a section in here about fibromyalgia. So there's theories on how to treat it. There's theories of the endocannabinoid deficiency, which kind of makes sense because cannabinoids you make them naturally, and you can make them by running the runner's high. The reason it was endorphins. Well, it turns out it's actually endocannabinoids. Wow. So you emit the anandamide. I always forget the name. It's like the bliss chemical. So learning about that. So they start talking about the full spectrum is the most important for the health benefits. So that's when I started learning, okay. And then the books, they have every single thing in it that tells you, you know, you can take the capsule, the oil, the flour, like however you want. It breaks it all down. And each like disease shows you what to take. So it teaches you how to use the
Got it.
plant as medicine. And it's called, you know, the name of the flower is the C word, as medicine. So that's where I started, was with the documentary and then the books. And then
The books.
they're sorry.
That's fun. That's going to be me in about 20 minutes because I'm going to need meds. I'm going to be falling forward. I guarantee it.
I have to look up that documentary. I'll have to. That's good because I think, you know, another reason that I haven't tried it and explored it is one reason because of my doctor, but the other is I just don't know. I don't know anything
Where to
about
start.
it, and I feel like it's a very overwhelming
Yes, it is.
type of topic, you
And
know, or it can be overwhelming.
You just go overwhelmed and you're like, I don't want to pick the wrong thing, and then it not work, and then be like, oh well, yeah, I tried that. So another great
because
one is Grass is Greener, and that tells you about the history and the prohibition and music, and it goes through the different genres of like, start off with jazz, the jazz musicians, and how they really sing about it, but in code. And so like you're learning I just learned so much, and I just see so many similarities between what we're going through and what we've already been through. And it's like history is repeating itself. I'm like, you guys pay attention. You know, like, we've been here before. Let's do this.
And like we talked, you know, there's some states like Texas that are never going to ever will be the last state in the union. The feds will have to come in and tell them they have to make it legal because, like you were talking about, an oil version of it, which can be concentrated. Don't get caught with that in Texas. I remember living in Vegas and hearing stories in Texas of these like 17-year-old kids getting pulled over with an oil version, and they were looking at 20 years in jail just for personal use. Texas doesn't. And we're in Vegas, you could go to the dispensary and buy it and get pulled over for speeding. They'd search your car, they'd see it, and they would just set it on the dashboard and keep looking for something else, right? It was perfectly legal and taxable in Las Vegas. And here, these kids are looking at like 20 years at the age of 17. And it's just so incredibly backwards. But I'll get to some of the questions. Christina said, if you don't mind, general location, what part of California are you in? Is the question that was asked.
I'm in LA.
You're in LA. Okay.
I'm a Valley girl. I grew up in the Valley, San Fernando Valley. I'm a Valley girl.
A Valley punk girl. There you go. Wear that badge with pride, please, because that's the music I kind of grew up. Jennifer wants to know what resources did you use to learn more about terpenes and the C's? And I think you just kind of covered that with that documentary and the books and that kind of stuff. But Jennifer, if you missed it, message Jayme, and Jayme will definitely help you with that. And it just jumps. So I'm going to have to scroll back up for y'all. Give me just a minute. Because it does this. After those two questions, there was a ton of comments. You guys are like rocking it, you know?
Oh, there was a question earlier, and you totally do not have to answer this, but I am also a nosy person, so I had the same question. When you were taking 27 medications, how much were you spending a month on medications?
Well, see, the good thing about this is I was already on SSDI.
Okay.
So I had Medicare Medi-Cal.
So that was covering a lot of it, but it's not covering it.
Yeah, everything. That covers it. It's like I had to stay poor so I could afford Medi-Cal, so I could afford to be in Medi-Cal. So I've been living. They make you live in poverty pretty much to get everything paid for. But
that makes sense. I was like, dang, I don't know how you were going in debt for that. That makes sense. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you weren't having to pay out of pocket for all that because I don't know anybody that could.
No.
But we also talked on it when we talked on the phone over the weekend. The expense of the flour is also becoming an issue now too.
Yeah,
right?
So, because insurance doesn't pay for it, and then they tax you extra. So it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but fortunately, since it is recreational out here, there is a place that we go to, and they give away huge deals once a month. You can go in there, and they give a bunch of freebies away, so it makes it worth it. Like this last month that we went, it was 40% off everything in the store.
There you
So,
go.
we're able to get a lot for a little, and then I don't have to make it myself because making it yourself is quite tedious.
Yeah. Lugnut asked, they do they use the actual flower part of the plant, or is that just a slang term for what we're talking about tonight?
I use the flower, the leaves, the grind it all up. Even the roots have medicinal properties if you can get to the roots, if you can grow it yourself. Huge anti-inflammatory properties. Yeah, the whole plant. And the whole plant is, when you use the whole plant, it's the better benefits because it's called the entourage effect. And it's like all the things working together, it works better.
Yeah.
So instead of like,
I'm trying to see if I've
How it
missed
was
anything.
intended. That's kind of how it was intended to be used if you use the whole thing, you know.
right.
If you grow it yourself, you use it.
Right. But, Big Pharma can't make money off of nature, so there's that component of it. And then there's the whole Anslinger component, and then the double down with the Controlled Substances Act, which, having no medical benefit means that they can't do any research or double blind studies.
Right.
And, it's a real problem. I'd like
Yeah,
to.
well, it's because the pharmaceutical industry can't patent it. They can't patent it, and if they can't patent it, there's no money to be made on it. And my dad. I've told this story 1,000 times. My dad was a pharmaceutical regional district sales manager, and then regional sales manager for McNeil Pharmaceuticals, which was owned by Johnson and Johnson. If you've ever taken a Tylenol 3, congratulations, you've taken a McNeil product, right? And then he went into state lobbying on behalf of Johnson and Johnson, the big corporate. Check out the little fruit bowl. Thank you for that. And I was in high school, and I came home, and I may have partaken in some flour for recreational use, right? And I was like Pluto and beyond. And I'll never forget, I sat down and have a conversation. He's like, you're blah, blah, blah. I'm going, yeah, I am. I wish this was legal. And he's like, it never will be. Not if I have anything to do with it. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, Keith, if that becomes legal, and he goes, and it should, it has medical benefits. It should. He goes, we can't, it's too late. We can't patent it. How are we supposed to make money on it? If people are taking that and getting relief, they don't need our products. And this is my dad telling me this when I'm like 17 years old. And so my view of corporate America got skewed really, really quick,
Wow.
And I'm grateful for how J&J took care of my family when I was growing up. But at the same time, it's infuriating. We, as teenagers, one of my friends' dad had glaucoma. And his eye doctor said, go do this. Get this and use it. It'll help you. It will give you relief. None of the meds they would give him any relief. And so as teenagers, his son would call me and say, hey, to my dad, you got it. And I would have to go get it for him. So his dad wouldn't be sitting in pain dealing with the situation with glaucoma. And this is in like 82, 83. And we're still in that type of mindset in Texas. That was Missouri, but Texas is the same way,
All
so.
people who had seizures. It used to be in the AMA pharmacopoeia until 1942 because it was the gold standard for epilepsy. They didn't have an alternative at the time. And so when Anslinger, was like, hey, wanted it removed, it was against the head of AMA's medical advice. He was like, do not do this. People are going to suffer because synthetics just at the time weren't doing what the plant could do for seizures. And it's just like so frustrating to know that, hey, this was used as medicine for centuries. And then all of a sudden, oh no, sorry. It competes with all these other things, and we would rather put people of color in jail and target them using this. So, like, knowing where it comes from, it's even more infuriating because, I just see it as so unfair.
It is unfair. I want to touch on something real quick. Lori said, I wish I could deal with the effects of flour. I don't like how it makes me feel. I understand that completely. I did try it in Vegas, and I got so paranoid that DEA was coming over our 8-foot concrete wall in the backyard. It could not wear off fast enough for me, and it felt like I was like that for 12 hours. It was like, I was like, nope, nope, okay, I know this was great when I was 18 and 20 and 30, but maybe this isn't what I need to be. But it's because I tried the wrong strain. And the
I was
lady
gonna
at the,
say, does that?
at
I
the,
was gonna say it probably goes back to what you were saying, all the different kinds, and you
yeah,
have to figure out which works best for you.
yeah,
And if you do the CB and the D, that will counteract the effects of the TH and the C. So if you're taking those together, it levels it out. And then if you're just doing like the CBD and the CBG, there's no euphoria.
right,
So, and those are the things that I take during the day so I can still function. That lowers my inflammation. It's good for CBG is great for bone health. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like my everything plant. I'm like reading everything about it. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. No
Yeah.
euphoria, even better, you know.
yeah.
But it affects
So
everyone differently. So,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
all
yeah.
experiences are valid.
they are everybody's experiences. Everybody's lived experience is 1,000% valid, and we try to be fair and present all of it to everybody in a way to encourage those that want to try, and then agree with those that it didn't work and it was a bad for them. And that's why we don't med shame and Invisible No More. We're proponents of whatever works for you to help you be better. I can take it and run with it. I don't give a shit what it is. Yeah,
No,
just
I
what it
was
is.
med shamed by a nurse last week, and she made me feel so bad, and I'm just like, I will never do that to somebody because it made me feel bad. I'm like, I never want to be the cause of someone feeling bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, if that works for you, go for it. Whatever works.
No, and
Blows my mind.
it's why I push back on so many of the mega influencers and their minions on this app, because I want whatever works for somebody. There is no one single answer. I wish there was. There's one thing that helps a lot of people,
That would be easy.
but it's not for the vast majority of us. There's other things that we can do, and you're a living example of it. So, and you're also a living example. While I want to get together with Amy and the rest of the Invisibles and talk about redoing the Bias Project, because there's a lot of new faces in the community
Yeah,
that I think the Bias Project will definitely help, and it encourages us to do it again.
yeah.
To be fair, I don't think we'll do the Grief Project ever again. We're going to stay away from that son of a bitch for forever and a day.
I'm
Um,
gonna see
I'm
myself
still
out if we do that again. I'm just gonna I'm gonna see myself
that's
out. You
still
guys
one
have fun.
therapy session a month between my therapist and I. That's one session a month is the whole Grief Project still to this day. But the Bias Project, it really did help so many people,
Oh,
and you're definitely really going to help incentivize us to go back and do that. Um, Before we get to victories, because I still want to do victories tonight, and I know we're a little long, but I wanted to pick your brain and I wanted to get your opinion on all this stuff. And I wanted to bring you out as an example of thriving, just kicking ass and taking names and kicking ass, even though you're a chronic pain patient, even though you're an invisible community member living and breathing, and I hate that you are not only just surviving, you're thriving. And I wanted to highlight that to let people know that there's hope for us. It may not be flour, it may not be gabapentin, but maybe there's something out there that we haven't discovered yet that can help us be a little bit better. And I wanted to really get your story out and give you the opportunity to share like this. Um, a question. So the question for you is anything that we've skipped that you think we needed to hit, anything that I missed that you want to get out. Is there anything that's important to you that hasn't been said yet? Here's your opportunity.
okay.
I don't want to make you feel like I've shortened you or I've censored you or anything like that, because I
No,
definitely don't want that.
but I do want to tell people there's certain documentaries that helped me, and that maybe they'll help you. One was We the People, but you know the word.
Right.
Another one is Grass is Greener. Those are both on Netflix. Fantastic Fungi, because I didn't go into that. but I use the mushrooms. I use reishi. I use turkey tail. I use liamine daily to lower inflammation, as well as a conjunctive. That documentary, eye-opening and mind-blowing for me. And then one that's on Amazon, it's also a book. It's called Drugs as Weapons Against Us. And that's basically telling you how the government has used drugs as weapons against us. And so that was very, very informative and eye-opening. But those documentaries, I think every chronic pain patient should just watch, just so they know, okay, why is this happening to me? Because I'm a proponent of root causes. I got to know why. Why? I was always that kid. Well, why? Well, drove everyone crazy, but I wanted to know why. And knowing why is half the battle of learning how to navigate and fight. So
Excellent choices. Excellent choices. We are going to jump into Amy's favorite, and Amy's going to introduce victories. You're more than welcome to stay, or you can jump off and get up and move around if you need to. Whatever's more comfortable for you. I don't want you to feel any pressure. Awesome, but if you're going to stay, you have to go first. So Amy, intro your favorite part of this whole lives for us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because you do it so much better than me.
Well, I don't know about that. But it's my favorite part because it's something that I look forward to, especially on the hard days. And as much as I hate to admit it, there have been a lot of hard days lately. And I look to you guys for joy and for excitement and to live vicariously through you. So that is why victories are my favorite part of every Tuesday and Thursday, because we get to celebrate you guys. We get to encourage you and just love on you for like 5 or 10 minutes. And who doesn't love that? I mean, let's just be real. We all need some encouragement in our life. So, without further ado, if you could put in the comments victories you have had today or this past week, whether they are big, small, or medium sized, we want to love on you and celebrate you and congratulate you. So,
please do.
Let's see how many we can get tonight, because we have a lot of people here.
We have a good crowd here tonight. So, all right, Jayme, like I said, if you're staying, you have to go first.
Okay,
give us a victory.
I manifested a low pain day by telling myself every day this week, hey, you are going to have a low pain day. And then to celebrate that, I did my dog walking, I did my sauna, and then I took a nice long magnesium flake bath. And then here I am. I'm here. Yay. I even put on makeup today. I was like, I'm going to do it.
And you made it through sharing your story. You made it through sharing your story. That's a massive victory too. And maybe not at this moment, but maybe later on tonight or tomorrow, you'll sit down and you'll give yourself some grace and you'll be like, heck yeah. I finally did it.
It's so good.
And I survived it, which is awesome. And people got to learn. All right. So if I'm going to start reading some of these off, if I miss your victory, please keep retyping it until I catch it, because I don't want to leave anybody out. Campbell Kit said bath and making the live. There you go.
Yay,
that's it awesome. Right there. Sarah says my victory was spontaneously leaving the house for lunch yesterday.
Oh,
that's huge.
We love spontaneous.
That is awesome. Hang on, I just jumped. Judy had an EMG yesterday. Oops, it jumped again. Just means people are typing. Had an EMG yesterday. Made a 4 rough night of cramping. Today's better now. Hallelujah. Congratulations on surviving the most torturous test in nerve testing and EMG. They are the devil's weapon, and whoever invented them, I'm glad they did, but may you, they hurt. But also, y'all, if y'all didn't know, Judy over the weekend, you know how I preach making memories? Judy officiated her daughter's wedding over the weekend and got to danced at the wedding over the weekend.
Woo-hoo!
And
Judy,
that is a massive victory right there. Jeremiah got into a handicap apartment. Congratulations on that. That is awesome.
Huge. Oh my
God.
That is
crazy.
That's amazing news.
These are all just massive things. That really is. Susan, my victory was getting my suitcase packed early, even trying on new clothes. I hate doing that. Congratulations.
What's that like? I don't think I've ever packed early.
Jeremiah, this is heartwarming but sad at the same time. Jeremiah said before he got into the apartment for a handicap, about to live in his car.
I'm so glad.
Talk about perfect timing. I'm glad that you didn't have to do that. Um,
Well, that's
and it jumped again.
amazing.
So I'm going to miss a lot
Thanks for
tonight.
the
So
reason.
please keep typing.
Everything,
Um,
everything happens.
Amy said, went to the park with my daughter and grandson. That is awesome. Ritter, I
Oh,
had coffee with a smile. There you go. See, it doesn't have to be finding the unicorns or getting your daughter hitched off so you don't have to worry about them anymore. It can simply be getting up and getting coffee, you know.
getting out of
Um,
bed. That
A
works.
Sarah
little bit.
Kavanaugh, that's exactly it. Amy got out of bed and took my daughter to get her nails done.
Oh, fun.
These are things that are all
That's
big
nice.
victories. Um,
Amazing. You
Lugnut
said,
says, Mark says, check out Forky's World about a local butcher making a difference. So that's it right there. He was able to get out and do that. That is awesome. You know,
that's so
these are
cool.
just incredible stuff tonight. I
Thanks
wish I
for
could
sharing
announce
it.
what I had.
That's
I
amazing.
had the best pain doctor visit of my life on Wednesday, and I have such incredible news to share that I can't, and it's killing me. And Amy knows what I'm talking about, and so
Soon
does
enough.
Jennifer.
Soon enough. You
And
guys will be very excited.
it is just
Soon
gonna
enough.
it's just huge.
You guys are doing
So it was a
great. Look
good
at
day.
all these. Oh my
Tracy,
God.
I had a bath today, made oatmeal and boiled eggs. Not the most exciting time for most. No, but you got a bath.
That's amazing.
I'd kill for a bath right
You
now.
did more than
Yeah,
me. You're killing it, sis.
I
That's
might have
great.
passed on the boiled eggs personally, but hey, you be you. You do you.
I'm
Erica,
joking.
yesterday I changed my sheets. That right there,
Dude,
holy crap.
That
that's
that is a big deal. That's a big deal
That
right there.
that is an amazing one. I'm going to share one because she didn't type it yet because she doesn't like to talk about herself. A friend of ours actually started to face what she calls her depression desk, which is where a work from home desk that they don't work anymore.
Mm,
That's become a catch-all
yes.
and is starting to dismantle the depression part of the depression desk. And
okay.
I told that person in a
Yay.
message this week, I said, this is going to sound weird, but you have a 57-year-old dude in Texas who's very freaking proud of you because that is an amazing thing to do.
Heck it.
That is a truly
Nothing's
amazing thing to
amazing.
do. If I've missed anything, start
Oh,
typing
Judy,
because
you're so right. Nothing feels better than clean sheets, but like, what is worse than changing the sheets on your bed? Like, I literally don't know what is worse than having to change your sheets. It's the
it,
hardest
Doing
thing.
the laundry?
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's all
we're not
terrible.
doing
But
it. Yeah, folding the laundry is the worst, right?
that is true.
Go look at our bathroom counter right now because that's my job, and it is. I'm gonna have to do like 6 more loads in the dryer to get the wrinkles out of it before I can fold it. Because I just is there somebody? Is that a service that you could do to pay somebody to come in and do your sheet? Just swap the sheets on the bed for you.
I mean, I
Maybe
would.
that's what we need to do.
That sounds
Start
great.
invisible sheet service and we could
Let's go
like
change your
fund
sheets.
things. We could fund things and we could afford things. Like I desperately need a battery. I need one of these little battery things because all the time I'm spending on the podcast and talking to volunteers, I'm like charging my phone 4 times a day. And this little thing that I bought from the TikTok shop was not designed for that. It's
Twins.
not designed for that. Um, but God bless it. It hasn't caught on fire yet, right? So um, did
That's
I think? I don't think I
awesome.
missed any more. If I did, y'all, I am sorry. It is definitely
No, these
not
victories are
intentional
so good.
at all.
It's
These victories, I
amazing.
live for them. I love the fact that so many people stuck around for victories tonight, and that
Oh,
in itself
we
is a
went
win.
long tonight. Thank
So
you for hanging out.
we did go long tonight. My body is telling me that.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, Miss Jamie, we'll start with you. Is there anything else that you want to get out or want to say, and then we'll go to Amy, and then I'll finalize it out for everybody.
I just want to thank you guys. TikTok is such a wild place to be. I love it. I love the community, but like I can see the negativity, and you guys have created this space where I actually felt safe to come and share. And I've been like, oh, I should share my story, but I didn't want to get a bunch of crap about it, and like I don't want to say the wrong things. So thank you guys for creating the space and making me feel comfortable enough to be like, yeah, I would love to come and talk to you guys. And like, it's so hard for me to sit there and talk to myself and tell my story. So you guys creating the space is just really appreciated, and I know it does help a lot of people, and it really has helped me. So I just want to thank you.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I don't think Amy and I think we do anything special. We just
Oh,
show
we
up,
do.
you
We
know.
do. We do.
So, but we appreciate the kind words. Definitely do. So, Miss Amy, parting shots from you, Queen.
My goodness. Well,
Last
first of
words for your
all,
minions.
yeah, thank you. First of all, Jayme, thank you. I mean, first of all, thank you for the sweet words. I mean, I want to hear more, but also don't compliment me. I don't take compliments very well. But thank you, thank you for sharing your story and coming on. And I think, like I said before, everybody, at least one person is going to be impacted by your story. And I know you impacted so many people tonight. I mean, you impacted me. Like, I'm so thankful that I was able to be here, and I was having a really crappy day, and the whole time Keith was so sweet, and he's like, if you need to tap out, like, it's okay. And I said, oh no, I need to be there for Jayme. I want to be here and listen to her. I want to spend time with her. Her story is so important. I want to be here, and your story is amazing, and I cannot wait to talk to you more after this live and get more into it. But thank you for just being so courageous and coming on here and sharing your story. And I just, you impacted so many tonight. I just know for a fact, because I know you impacted me, so I know there's more people. But for this community, thank you guys for being as awesome as you are. And thank you for welcoming Jayme in and supporting her and having all the good comments and questions. You guys' comment section tonight was on point. Thank you for all the likes. We're over 100,000. And thank you
That's
for
crazy.
staying with us for so long. This is a long
Yes.
one for us tonight. And thank you guys for hanging in there with us and not, abandoning us halfway through. We really, really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a good night's rest tonight and a good weekend. And I am manifesting a low pain day for everybody involved. So thank you guys for being here.
I want to say thank you again to Jayme. Thank you for the kind words. Because honestly, if you sit down with Amy or myself, we tell you we don't do anything. We just show up. It's the people that are in the comments that built this community, that trust us to know that we just want the best. That's all we want is for people to be seen, heard, loved, know they're not alone, and to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And if we can all be a little bit better, then it's a victory, right? Your story, I knew was going to be popular. I knew people were going to get stuff out of it. It was, and I'm so glad you took the chance with Amy and I and the crowd that's here to share it, that you trusted us to share it, because that means a lot, because you impacted people tonight. And it was powerful, and it was informative, and it was honest, and it was no bullshit. You were straightforward, you know. Um, I will get this up on YouTube. I am one behind. I haven't gotten. You even got the little. You got the bow even. That's awesome. I'm one behind. I have not done finished on Tuesdays yet, so I will get both of them up this weekend. I'll get tonight as well as Tuesdays up on the YouTube page. YouTube page. If you go to my bio, click Linktree, it'll be like two or three down. It'll say YouTube, and follow that, and you'll be able to see all the ones that we've done in the past, as well as you get to rewatch Amy's story again and hear how flour can positively be a good thing in somebody's life. And if you're on the fence, reach out to Jayme, ask questions. Jayme has an incredible wealth of knowledge about this. You can message me, but I'm going to send you to Jayme because Jayme knows more about it than I do. If you need me, message me. I've cleared a ton of messages out this morning. I'm still behind. Email me, keithcpp@gmail.com, or message Amy, and Amy will find me. Thank you all for sticking with us because we ran really long tonight, but thank you for putting up with it because we got so much out of it.
Yeah.
Amy, have a good night. Miss Jayme, thank you very much. You're a rock star, and I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I hope tomorrow is at least a little bit better, y'all. We'll see you. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.